the festival.
This must be a way of mourning that's unique to Asukasa. It's different from most proto-nationalist funerals.
Hello everybody, Megazard Extra, and I'm back at it again to give y'all another episode after a very long 3-week break period of Fire Force. And this one's going to be over Fire Force episode 12, Eve of Hostilities in Asukasa. And if you haven't already checked out my last episode review, which was actually a combination of episode 10 and 11 because I had an off-week break due to some family circumstances, you can go ahead and click that card in the corner to check that video out, and then come back and check this one though. But man, after the long-awaited break, it is finally good to be able to review these and shoot, just being able to actually watch the episodes, because man, I know everybody was desperate, kind of waiting for this episode to come out, because I released a news update and it did fairly good. It got over 16,000 views, and just looking through all the comments, I could just tell people were kind of frustrated or just kind of disappointed and upset of how many times we've gone into different breaks, because we had a delay from episode 3, and then we had the delay for episode 12. That was about a few weeks there, and it was a week for the episode 3 review though. But it's just finally good to be able to watch episodes and just be able to sit down and review these again though. But we got the ball kind of rolling again with the plot and stuff, and this one, it was kind of slower for the first half of the episode, but then it started to pick up a little bit more with the backstory, and then a showdown that I wasn't kind of expecting though, but it was pretty cool to kind of see it all go down though. But yeah, let's go ahead and kick back and relax and get comfortable as we're about to get ready to go over this latest episode review of Fire Force.
When the 8th moved to investigate Company 1's jurisdiction, it was because of Rekka. They may have caught our scent here.
What does the Evangelist command?
They failed to kill them before, so we're to finish the job now. Prepare the traps. The bugs, too.
So starting at the very beginning of the episode, we're picking up right off of the heels of the previous episode, where essentially after the whole conclusion of Captain Shimon's friend basically going infernal, due to the fact of them putting it down, they basically destroyed a lot of, public property and stuff. So essentially Company 7 was basically repairing the town from that fight with that infernal, even though it wasn't much of a fight to begin with. I don't know why though, but Shimon basically almost tore the whole place up, but everybody was kind of used to it, and it's kind of like a normal thing for them, and they were even throwing like a sort of kind of celebration. So definitely the jurisdiction district that Company 7 controls is a lot different with its customs in terms of how they kind of deal and how they kind of recover with infernal breakouts though. But essentially Company 8 was there to kind of collaborate with Company 7 in order to kind of find some leads with the Evangelist, because their last little lead kind of came over to this jurisdiction area that Company 7 controls. But due to them kind of recovering from that previous infernal attack, they essentially were, just repairing the town, so they weren't going to talk. So Company 8 decided to go ahead and help them out. We saw Shinra basically lifting up heavy loads of wood, being able to, due to his 3rd generation fire powers, he was able to basically lift the wood up and go to high places with the wood. We saw Maki lifting up some heavy loads, and we also got to see Arthur use his unique powers to be able to weld things back together. So basically Company 8 was helping Company 7 with the town's recovery though. But while all of this was going down in the shadows, the White Clad were already preparing their next attack, and they were preparing a trap, and from the looks of it, they had a whole bunch of fire bugs, which we saw in a previous episode with the Company 1 arc, where it was these bugs that were responsible for turning humans into infernals, and it seems like they're basically planning a big old trap. And they were talking about how the Evangelist was basically planning this out, and this is what the Evangelist had, set into motion for the next plan of attack. And then we go from there straight into the opening into the next scene, and basically we had Shimon and Konro talking to each other. Now we know that the captain of Company 7 is Shimon, but their lieutenant is actually Konro, and they were basically kind of having like a heart-to-heart discussion, and Shimon was essentially kind of taking care of some of his wounds that he had from a battle way back in the past. And the interesting thing about this is Lieutenant Conroe actually had tophrosis, and tophrosis is when a third generation's body overheats and their flesh burns and actually turns into ash. So essentially, we learned within a few episodes ago, whenever Shinro was basically almost overtapped during the attack, whenever they were in that warehouse, when Rekka essentially got shot down by the White Clad, that essentially when a fire soldier, particularly a third generation one, uses up, when they're using their pyrokinetic powers and stuff, they're essentially using the oxygen in their blood. So essentially, if you run an oxygen in your blood, you're starting to go into overdrive, and that's what causes the tophrosis that we see on Lieutenant Conroe. So that was just a sad, unfortunate incident though, but Captain Shimon was basically attending his wounds, and he basically said that, hey, why don't we help Company 8 with their investigation? They seem like really good people. They're kind of a different breed of a horse as compared to all of the other companies that some of them kind of act like malicious or kind of act a little bit twisted, as we saw with Company 5, how that company used to be back in the past. But he's saying that basically he sees something different in Company 8. But Captain Shimon basically was kind of skeptical, and he was like, you know what, I'm not quite sure about that. I still don't quite trust them like that. So I'm just probably basically going to keep my distance, and we're just going to kind of keep an eye out on all of them though. But you can kind of see, as for reasons in the future, as we go later into the episode, why he kind of has mistrust in certain people, and he only has trust within those people that he actually known for a good amount of time though. But essentially after that scene, he basically decided to give Lieutenant Conroe's advice a chance, and he said, okay, you know what, maybe you might possibly be a little bit right. So he decided to kind of go along with him and say, you know what, and he ran into Shinra, and he was like, you know what, hey, where's your captain at? And he was like, he's over there in an alley off to the side over here at this certain location. So we had Shimon basically follow the instructions that Shinra gave him, and then he ran into like this side little alley, and this is where things got interesting, where he saw who seemed to be, Captain Obi and Lieutenant Hinawa talking, and how they said basically they're gonna burn the whole town down and turn everybody into infernals. Now this is where things got interesting, because Shimon didn't even think twice about it. He saw what was going on in front of him. He saw and heard the words that they just said. They were going to turn everybody into infernals and basically, destroy the whole entire town. And he acted immediately. Now, this is the thing. Those two took off, but then it switched to what seemed to still be, Captain Obi and Lieutenant Hinawa, and then you just blasted an attack at them. He was like, whoa, 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 and then both of them were like, whoa, what's going on with Shimon? What in the heck is he doing? And they just took off, started running. Then we had Shinra, Maki kind of talking off at a distant area, and that's when they saw that big old fire explosion. They're like, whoa, what's going on late at night? So then they started rushing over there, and then we come to find out that Shimon was basically trying to explain what he just heard from Captain Obi and Lieutenant Hinawa, saying how they were going to turn everybody into infernals. But then both of them were, especially Captain Obi was like, hold on, wait. I was like, we didn't say that. What are you talking about? But then Shimon, put that to the side and was like, there's nothing that you can say that can persuade me otherwise. I heard what I heard. And essentially he started fighting them. And then Captain Obi was like, dang, we really don't want to fight you. But Shimon made it clear and evident and said, hey, look, if y'all are purely innocent, you're going to be able to put up a decent fight and be able to win or / hold your own against me. So there's no more talking. Let actions prove the point. So then Captain Obi's like, all right, I get your angle. And he basically went to his vehicle to basically suit up. And at this point in time, everybody else from Company 8 was basically stalling time for Captain Obi to essentially suit up. So, you had Maki going in, you had Arthur going in, you had Shinra going in, you had Lieutenant Hinawa, as well as Tamaki jumping in and getting a little action though. But with Shimon basically being a second and third generation fire soldier, there was basically nothing that Company 8 could do, and it was hard for them to hold their own, because this is, so to say, be the strongest captain within the whole entire fire force between all of the captain commanders from all the different companies. Finally, Captain Obi basically suited up, and then actually Captain Shimon was kind of shocked at this, how essentially, Captain Obi didn't have any fire powers whatsoever, but yet he was still willing to take him on in an actual match. And this dude was strapped down to the core. We seen Captain Obi in action a little bit, and there was one little teaser scene where he was trying to get ready for the Company 5 arc, and whenever they were about to bust in though, but it took him so long to suit him up that, that whole fight was over with though. But getting back to the here and now, man, this dude was suited up as like an iron tank, and he was able to hold his own against Shimon quite well. He was able to take some hits, he was able to dish them out back at the same time though. He was popping out, he was pulling out some weapons, but easily Shimon was able to slice him, dice him, and cut him in half. But Captain Obi basically had some spray that kind of helped, decrease the level of how potent the fire attacks could have been from Shimon. So he was like releasing this gas out every now and then to basically kind of weaken the blows that Captain Shimon could have popped on Captain Obi. And he was fighting very strategically as well, and he managed to put in like quite a bit of few licks on the dude though. And the two little girls that that are always kind of next to Captain Shimon, they were kind of shocked at how many times that Captain Obi was able to actually land in some blows. And it seemed like it was almost an even fight, even though technically it kind of, you wouldn't think will actually be that kind of way though. But it just kind of goes to show how strong Captain Obi is to his cause. And it just really kind of left Captain Shimon in a confused state, and he was still kind of figuring it out, like, wait, this dude doesn't even have fire powers? And he kind of, there was a little bit of doubt kind of setting in his mind, like, wait, if this dude didn't even have any powers, how in the world could he be associated with potentially the White Clad and how they're turning people into, infernos and stuff? So a little doubt was coming in there, but he was kind of overriding that, and he still was kind of bent on his ways. And that's when we saw Lieutenant Conroe jump in, and he jumped right in between the two, and he basically said, hey, look, you need to calm down. You're not thinking rationally right now. And then, Shimon was like, wait, get off of me. You didn't hear what I heard. These people are gonna, destroy the town, turn people into infernos and stuff. But then Conroe started using his powers to basically kind of weaken Shimon and kind of put his fires, calm his fires down within him. And of course, with him using his powers like this started to kick back in his tephrosis, where more of his body kind of started to turn back into ash and start to burn up. And then this finally let Shimon calm down to like, okay, I'll stop. For your sake, I'll stop to make sure that you're safe. So anyway, that's basically the end of the captain versus captain battle. And they basically kind of went back to like wherever Shimon's living quarters were at for his company and stuff. And they basically kind of had like a heart-to-heart, and they were kind of talking about how there was a little bit of confusion because the people that Captain Shimon saw weren't actually Captain Obi and Lieutenant Hinawa. He might have saw some imposters is what they essentially got down to. And then Captain Shimon basically said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and confirm back with the store clerk who actually saw Captain Obi and Lieutenant Hinawa, the real ones, at a certain time, and the ones that Shinra actually saw that told Captain Shimon to go to and see were actually the imposter ones. So he was basically trying to get all of that kind of situated out and everything. And then while I was walking away, Lieutenant Conroe was basically apologizing for all of the, the misunderstandings and all of the confusion and stuff. And then we get revealed of a flashback of why, basically why Shimon is sort of kind of acting the way how he is. And in that flashback, we got to see a little scene where it was basically like their whole entire area was basically burning up. There was massive amounts of infernos on the loose, and they're wondering where in the world were the fire soldiers at. And they're like, well, we got to do what we can here. And Shimon, he wasn't a captain at the time though, but Shimon was basically almost tapped out with his powers, and he couldn't go much further before he started to overheat and potentially got that tephrosis disease or trait or whatever you want to call it. And essentially we saw a different kind of inferno, one that we hadn't quite seen before, and we seen this in like the preview trailers for the second Cur and everything though, but this inferno looks different. sort of kind of similar to the level of one type of Inferno that we saw earlier within the season, where Company 5 was bent on getting this Inferno because this Inferno looked different. It's sort of kind of the same way though, but this one looks a little bit more devilish, and basically it looked like it was going to be a fairly heated battle, one that wasn't going to be easily won. And basically we saw those two just about to clash, but right before, you know, they were about to clash, Lieutenant Conroe, we don't know if he's technically was a lieutenant or a captain at the time. Conroe basically knocked out Shimon, so that way he can rest and recover. And then we saw Conroe essentially about to take on this Inferno head on, and that's pretty much where the episode ends. So overall, it was a very interesting episode, and we kind of started to see a little bit more breakdown into Shimon's character, which I greatly appreciate, because at first I wasn't really gravitating towards this captain as a whole though. But overall, just kind of seeing the flashbacks of what's kind of going on, I can kind of understand and see the way why he kind of acts the way he does, due to some events, that some tragic unfortunate incidents that happened to him in the past. So overall, this was a joy to watch, and overall, I'm looking forward to whatever's about to come next within the next episode, though. But that is all that I have for y'all for this episode review of Fire Force. So if you really like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, and go ahead and hit that bell and subscribe to keep up to date on all things Fire Force I'm currently reviewing. So yeah, make sure to tune in next time for episode 13 of Fire Force. The trap is set. And until whatever video I make next, see y'all.
A demon! That's infernal. It isn't like the others. What are you doing? Contra! I'm sorry, but with a rambunctious little brat like you, there was no other way to get you to sit still. I can't let your fire go out yet. Rest up. I'll deal with this.